working with the two of you is the most rewarding thing. At the end of the day, it's still like, making plays with my family and putting them on for my parents in my playroom. And somebody get a good close-up on Jen crying right now. Welcome to Peacemaker, the official podcast with James Gunn. That's me. And I'm here with the wonderful Jennifer Holland and the sexy Steve Agee.
Super sexy Steve Agee.
Thank you. Yes, that's me. And I play John Economos on the show.
And I am Jennifer Holland. I play Emilia Harcourt.
On the show.
Yes. Also in life. I decided I would just continue playing her
Nice.
In my life. We're going to be diving into Season 1, Episode 8. And it is written by James Gunn and directed by the one and only James Gunn.
And we're going to talk spoilers, as always. So if you haven't watched this yet, go to HBO Max and do so. Usually an episode of this show took about 15, 16 days. Episode 8 took how many? Like 20?
Probably around 20 or
20
something.
some days,
Because a lot of it was at night. And because we were so far north, we had very short nights.
6 hours of nighttime or something like
Maybe.
that. It was,
But part of that was also like I shot the ending of 7 during that block and things like that. So there were other things at play. But yeah, we took our time with the last one, and it was a bigger episode. It was a much bigger episode. We start out in the mobile unit with Adebayo and Peacemaker and Vigilante, and they're farting all over each other.
with their mouths.
And eating it like it was one of the things that Freddie did, was pretending to eat the farts. That's
Miming eating it. Just,
He wasn't eating farts.
he wasn't actually eating the farts.
No, they were actually farting, and he was actually eating them.
This is news to me. It's not how I interpreted the episode, but it was funny nonetheless.
But I think here in this scene, we have a really important moment. We have a moment where, Adebayo calls out Peacemaker for letting the past define who he is. And we discovered that Peacemaker was forced into killing his brother, basically, when he was young, the only person who loved him and he loved, and he's let it inform his whole life. And one of the things he's done is Peacemaker's gone on almost this metaphysical quest to make death mean something because of the meaninglessness of his brother's death. And it was meaningless. It was not, there was no reason for it. It shouldn't have happened. It made his life worse. We can't pretend there was some reason that his brother died. But he's gotten it so twisted and backwards in his brain that he's somehow related this to his quest as Peacemaker to kill anyone for the sake of peace. And we see how that plays out over this episode. We have Peacemaker being haunted by a hallucination of his father. This is a different sort of moment for the series. We haven't really seen into Peacemaker's mind. It's unusual. They have a funny but fucking weird interaction between the two of them, and Harcourt sees Peacemaker basically talking to the air and is concerned about him, but right where Peacemaker's father's ghost falls is where the helmet happens to be.
And I always think it's kind of interesting because you say there's no such thing as a sign. The sign is how you read into
me
it.
Personally.
Yeah, when you're writing it. But then seeing the eagle hug a human and in some ways it's a miracle.
And in some ways this moment here it's like
a miracle.
Oh wow,
yeah.
That's that's not a just
it's almost like there's a reason why this crazy thing happened with him there, so that they could find the helmet.
Yes. Anyway, we have this great moment though. Economos, you see the cow, which is wonderful work by Weta. They created this great cow. It's inspired by a lot of things, including the cartoons of my friend Renee French, who's a great cartoonist. You're freaked out. You run out, drop the bag, not low enough.
Yeah.
Magnificent set we had, by the way. But then we have one of the scenes that's talked about the most on the show, which is where John Economos comes up out of the barn. He runs into Detective Larry Fitzgibbon again, a butterfly, and he stops him and he says, "Hey," and you turn towards him. Tense music starts, and he looks at you and he says, the person you took over.
Why did he do that to his beard?
Peacemaker is listening to me, and I have to
And you also
say it, or I'm gonna get fucking killed.
You're backed against the wall,
Yeah.
where you know that the butterflies would say the truth without any sort of attachment to what that truth is. And the only way that John Economos can save his life in that moment is through telling him the truth about why he dyed his beard.
He thought it made him look younger and more handsome.
He never had a girlfriend, so he thought dyeing his beard might help.
One season and one movie's worth of dyeing that goddamn beard, all justified.
All this,
Sadly.
and a payoff to the joke that is exceptionally sad, and
Such a sad
an
payoff.
amazing performance by you,
Thank you.
Steve, which was
It's crazy
very
because
emotional.
I remember getting the scripts and seeing that. I called you and I was like, how am I supposed to do this? Is this funny? Is it sad? And you said, just memorize it. You were like, just don't go in with any preconceived idea. Just know the lines.
Yeah.
And so I went in, and then the first take just did my interpretation of it, which was whatever. And then we shot for so long of you just like, slow it down, try this, remember this, you know he's listening. And it got so fucking sad.
Yeah.
There were takes where I couldn't get the words out. I was crying so hard.
We had 3 different cuts of the scene with, Fred Raskin, my editor, who cut, most of my episodes. And we cut a version that was kind of without emotion, like not without emotion, but like where it was very under the surface.
The way a butterfly would.
The way a butterfly would, but with still, we know it's John Economos, so you
Right.
see the emotion there, but Lachlan, but Fitzgibbon probably wouldn't. Then we had a version where you were really sobbing, and it actually was amazing, but it was also impossible to use because Fitzgibbon would have been like, what the hell is going on with this butterfly who's sobbing?
Yeah.
And then we have the version we have in there, which is emotion and there's tears, but it's a little bit more suppressed, and maybe a butterfly wouldn't notice that that was happening.
Yeah.
And so, in your speech, you talk about how you've never had a girlfriend. You talk about, what are some of the other things?
So
he says?
underpaid.
Underpaid.
And I didn't think anybody noticed.
I think that's the saddest part of what you say to me. But most of all,
Mostly, though, he never thought anybody noticed.
Until recently. When one guy said it to him all the time.
until
Except for one guy.
one guy
says it
mentioned
all the
it
time.
And we
all
cut
the
to
time.
Cena, and he's just great. And now he feels so bad. He's like, oh, I am a bully, and that's what it gets me. And I've just destroyed this guy's fucking self-confidence.
It's really beautiful. It's one of my favorite sort of character arc moments in the whole show.
Such
It's
a
just
good
a really
payoff.
beautiful
I'm so
payoff.
glad it paid off, that beard.
Oh, but he says one final thing to him, which is human beings can be so pathetic.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. And then you walk off. You talk about how you're going to improve the dye in your
I
beard.
should have spent a little more money.
But then Cool Steve, bearded racist, comes up. He's got the helmet in his hand, and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
You run. We have one of the fake outs of the program, and all of the zombies jump on you, or butterflies jump on you, and it looks for a moment like you're about to get killed.
For sure.
And you had friends who thought
So many
were
people
texting
at the
you.
end of it text me. They're like, I honestly thought you were dead, and I was so bummed out.
People get upset because sometimes I kill their favorite characters, but one of the things that work, all the stakes always then work for other characters that could possibly die, and that's important. That I really can kill anyone at any moment, and it makes it difficult.
What you're saying is you're willing to sacrifice anyone so that all of your viewers always know in every script you ever write that anyone could die at any
Anyone can
moment.
die at any time. I mean,
sense.
it's unlikely I'm going to kill Superman in the first Superman movie. That was
Yeah, that would be a strong choice.
Yeah.
That would be a really
Bold.
bold
But
choice.
if people go into your movies feeling like he might die, that makes it great, Adebayo gets to her walkie. She activates the sonic boom, and finally things start going in the 11th Street Kids direction. The barn blows up. Things collapse.
By the way, you were practically destroying that barn. That's not CG.
I think we made that barn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
made
then
that barn and then we
destroyed it.
destroyed it. Oh, and there's another great moment when Cool Steve is holding. So Cool Steve is holding the helmet, and we're sitting there and we're watching the shot, and he's like looks down in the thing as he hears it beeping, and then it explodes, and the guy explodes. And so I shot Cool Steve. I kept the camera set up the way it was. Then I had him walk out, and then I put in a dummy of Cool Steve. And we exploded his body, and it was like a bloody mess. But there's also a real explosion. And on the day, Simon, who is my producing partner for many years, he's gone off to direct his own movie, which is going to be great. Simon was sitting with me as we're set up the first part of the shot, and then he got distracted by somebody talking or something. And then we brought in the dummy while he was not paying attention. And he looked back at the monitor. He's sitting next to me. And the explosion happens, and Simon's mouth just drops wide open, and he looks at me with pure panic, and he's looking around the room because he thought we exploded Neil, who plays Cool Steve, by accident. And then
So funny.
You killed somebody.
without.
I mean, it is a really great practical gag. It looks great.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. So now we get into the big action sequence. This is the action sequence we worked the hardest on in season 1, and it's to "Do You Want to Taste It?" The the theme song. Adebayo and Economos are left behind. Harcourt and Vigilante and Peacemaker go off, and they start killing the butterflies, and they're magnificent at killing. We see them really working in unison as a team. Wayne Dalglish did a great job of his choreography, his fight choreography. And then the song is playing, and this is sort of an important moment to me. And one of the reasons why I like Do You Want to Taste It as a song so much, they played at a lot of sporting events now since the show came out. And it's sort of a rallying, let's go, hurrah song. But when you start to listen to it, it is a dark song. It is about the price of letting go of your past and the price of ambition, the price of fame and the isolation in that. And the fact that all of that is just an illusion. Throw the dog an invisible bone. Like when you throw a dog an invisible bone and the dog goes running after it and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's a great, weird line from these Norwegian guys. And I feel that when you watch the show, you hear the song at the beginning, and it does play, the first time we hear it, Peacemaker thinks he's getting out of prison. He's in the taxi. He's excited. And we hear the song, and it's triumphant. It's great. By the time we get to episode 7, it's on the heels of seeing Keith murdered, and it's no longer so funny. It's like darkly weird and sad and heartbreaking. That Do You Want to Taste It? What you're tasting is the tragedy of life and of loss and of trying to make sense of this thing that we can't make sense of. And then you get to the final montage, and it becomes even more visceral because we end with the overhead shot of Harcourt and the blood in her mouth. And Do You Want to Taste It is literally just her tasting the blood.
And the music detunes.
The music
which
detunes
warps
and
it.
goes and warps. And for me, in a way, that's the seed of the song, is at that moment. That's what the song leads to.
You were playing the song. I mean, James often plays the song while we're filming something.
Yeah.
If it's MOS.
Yeah, I always like to play, while we're shooting a scene, I like to play the music when we don't need to record the dialogue. And sometimes even when I record the dialogue, I put people in earwigs and people so that they can hear the music. But it's a way that the movement with the stunt people and the actors and the camera operators and everybody else are all moving to the same rhythm of the song that we're going to use. And I even do this with film score and playing score over scenes as we shoot them, although we didn't have the luxury of doing that on Peacemaker.
But it was a little less necessary. As wonderful as our composers are on this
Clint
show.
Mansell and Kevin Kiner, who do an amazing job scoring the show, especially this episode.
Incredible. I absolutely love the vibe that their score gives throughout the whole show. But less necessary for you to have those pieces written prior to us filming this?
Because the songs are so important.
The songs are so important.
Yeah. I'd say
It's
even more
usually
important
those.
than in the Guardians trilogy. Yeah, and in that moment, I think that, again, we think that Harcourt might die. And Adebayo sees it happen. She turns to Economos and she says, Harcourt's down. And we see this wonderful moment from you, Steve, where you go, what? And to me, for some reason, it's one of the saddest moments in the whole episode because Economos doesn't express himself towards anybody, but you see how much he cares about Harcourt in that moment and how he is lost. He doesn't know what to do.
She's my only ally.
Only ally.
Yeah.
And Adebayo says she's going to go. And she starts to run out there. And another payoff is that, you say,
Hey, what makes you think you can do this?
Adebayo turns to you and she says,
Because I'm made for this shit.
she has said, literally, I'm not made for this shit, like 4 times throughout the series. Like, she keeps saying, I'm not made for this shit. I'm not made for this shit. And I think in this moment, she has a realization about herself and who she is and why she was placed on this earth and what she's meant to do. And that this is it. She's an 11th Street kid through and through. So everybody is down outside. Vigilante, Economos, Harcourt. Adebayo is down inside. And Goff looks at Peacemaker and she says,
Stop fighting. Follow me.
we then come to the moment in which Goff reveals the butterfly's plans, which really isn't what we thought it was. Goff says that the butterflies are here to save the world from itself. She sees trends that she saw on her own planet where people aren't paying attention to science, basically, and saying science doesn't matter, and that led to the destruction of the world. And she's trying to save the planet by any means necessary, no matter how many men, women, and children she needs to kill.
We're not doing this for power. We're doing it because we took a vow.
Her vow is the same as Peacemaker's. And I gotta say, Annie's performance is so, so good.
Yeah.
Because in this moment, she loves Peacemaker. And one of the reasons she loves him is because he fed her when she was in the jar. And she says, I see who you are. You're the same as me. She loves him. She might even kind of be in love with him.
Yeah.
And that was in some earlier drafts. That was more overt in some earlier drafts that she loved him. That it was a sexual attraction, at least. It got weird.
Yeah.
And then it got too weird, and so I cut it out. But she loves him in that moment, and she's like, please, you got to help me. You got to do what Judo Master did, which is Judo Master, we now learn, was thinking he was doing the right thing the whole time. Right. Help me to save the planet. Help me to teleport this cow. We need 3 hands to do it, and you need to help us.
Please, fulfill your calling. Be the peacemaker.
You see John doing great work, facing his past, running through the experiences of his life, of his brother dying, and everything he thought he was living for. And it seems like he's going to agree with her. And I have to say, in an early draft, he sacrificed everyone. Like in an earlier version of the treatment in my mind. He went with the butterflies. Wow. And I got to be honest, I wasn't exactly sure what he was going to do. A lot of times I'm just kind of following my characters. And I knew he was going to get to this choice. And I knew that Peacemaker was going to do the most true thing in that moment. And I realized that he was not going to choose the world. He was going to choose the 11th Street kids. Sure. He was going to choose his friends. And so he says, activate human torpedo. He uses Adebayo as a human torpedo. She kills the cow. He shoots Goff. He shoots Locke. We've stopped the butterflies' plans. We know that that's their last chance at having any food source. They can't stay alive without it.
Such a complicated moral quandary, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, this isn't a matter of saying Peacemaker did the right thing. I don't think he knows if he did the right thing, but I think he did the thing that he had to do. And I think in some ways you could say he didn't do the right thing. But I think sometimes people cannot do the right thing, but they're doing the right thing for their soul. And the change in Peacemaker, for me, is the important thing, that he's learned to love. He's learned to connect to other people. So this is a different type of choice. And so maybe he didn't make the right choice for the world, but he did make the right choice for Peacemaker. Also, there is another argument, which is the butterflies don't know what the fuck our world is. They don't know everything. Just because something happened on their planet, in the same way that Adebayo is saying, don't be dictated by your past, they're being dictated by their past. Right. We don't know that the world's going to die. They're making up this choice, and they're choosing for us what we think we're supposed to do. Now, this isn't the reason Peacemaker made his choice.
Right.
That's not. He did it for his friends. But I think you can also say
It's the reason you made your choice.
it was also the right choice. No, I don't know. I see both sides of the issue.
Sure.
I exist in all of them. We have a very memorable moment. Probably the second most talked about moment after the dance scene.
Sure.
Peacemaker goes out. He picks up Harcourt's limp body, and he's with Economos and Adebayo and Vigilante, and they're walking like damaged heroes, like the fucking Wild Bunch going into town in slow motion. And then they see the Justice League show up. It's Superman and Aquaman and Flash and Wonder Woman. And basically Peacemaker says,
fuck you.
Fuck off.
Too late.
Too late, you douchebags. Dickwads, whatever he calls them. And then he walks away. Now we come into the new DCU. And really, you look back at season 1 of Peacemaker, and almost everything is canon. Like, we're doing, like, little tiny things. Maybe there's no Batmite, maybe there's no Green Arrow. I don't know. They're pretty small things. But the appearance of the Justice League is totally wrong and doesn't fit. And so we have a plan for it. You'll see it in season 2. But we can safely say it's not canon. Anyway, it's done. Okay. Now we're at the end. It's kind of beautiful, kind of happy. There's a great moment with John Economos. He goes back to work. He's back in the basement, but we see this moment where he takes his photo out and he looks at the photo of the 11th Street kids, and you realize this guy has a connection with some people that he's never had before. It really touches me. We see Harcourt struggling to walk again after her injuries. We see Adebayo reunited with Kia, her wife, and kissing in a beautiful kissing shot in their living room with the dogs around them.
One of my favorite moments, which is the moment where Chris Smith has been waiting for days in the hospital waiting room for to make sure that
Very
Harcourt
important,
woke up.
incredibly important. It's like
Harcourt's been in a coma.
Yeah.
She's, he doesn't know if she's going to live, and he's waited there. And despite herself, it really touches Harcourt. And
she offers him.
She offers him her hand.
Yeah.
And that, coupled with her her small little moment that you see her recovering, she has this harsh person that you've seen this whole series, just really harsh, hardened killer, is completely vulnerable. She's nearly lost her life. I see it so much in the little piece when she's recovering with the physical therapist. You see her smile for one of maybe the first real
And
times
it's a really
in the whole
bright
series.
smile. It's a really nice moment.
Because she's feeling some hope. So it's a special moment to me.
Yeah, and I think that has big ramifications for season 2 of Peacemaker, that moment between Peacemaker and Harcourt. And then, at the very ending of the montage, we see Peacemaker lying in bed, a changed human being, and he looks up. The butterfly Goff is tapping against the window. And Peacemaker walks outside. Eagly walks out with him. This is his new life. And we see him with the very last of the sort of syrup.
The amber goo.
The amber goo. And he pours it onto the ground, and Goff needs to eat it. And if you're paying attention, that is the last of the amber goo. That is the end of Goff. That's Goff's last supper, basically. Goff's. People have asked me, has Goff come back? Goff dies
That's what they eat,
after
and that's
that
it.
day. After that day.
It's very sad.
And there's a sadness in all of that, and Eagly is there, and Eagly's not killing Goff, which is interesting because very different than when Eagly first met Goff. Peacemaker sits down, and we literally see a shadow fall over Peacemaker, and it's the shadow of his father. His father sits down beside him. We realize it's not his real father. He's seen the vision of his father earlier, and his father smiles as he looks disturbed, and we realize that despite all of these changes in Peacemaker, that he is never going to, or at least for the time being, he's not going to be able to escape his father's shadow.
He has not yet been able to escape his father's
the
shadow.
cruelty of his father, and it's not going to be so easy for him. Overcoming these traumas and struggles that we have in life isn't so simple. The camera pulls back, possum falls down. So despite the father's cruelty, we have a sign of Eagly's love, as meaningless and silly as it may be. And then Eagly comes down. And he ruined the shot because he looked straight at the camera. So that's the end of the episode.
And now,
Peace thoughts.
welcome back to another edition of Peace Thoughts, where I share my unfiltered thoughts on moments throughout the series. So I think the best thing about 108, it is a bow on the present. You see this Bad News Bears group, these lovable losers, these fucking long shots who are being punished, actually go in and save the world. And in like true virtuous superhero fashion, where it's not easy, they get banged up, Harcourt's virtually left for dead, but they're the ones doing the slow walk out of the explosion, telling the superheroes to fuck off. That's that moment of like, I'm a hero. What I like about season 2 and 201 is the same thing I liked about 101. You see Chris get out of the hospital, he lives in a fucking trailer. He's broke. He is just a goon in a suit who goes out and thinks he does virtuous things, but like saying he'll kill for peace is such an oxymoron. He's not Bruce Wayne. You know, you see him really having to climb uphill. And 108 is like, fuck, they did it. And 201 is like, they got gypped. It's that you're always searching for that thing, and they just keep getting the rug pulled out from under them. And many times as human beings, we think the universe is a very busy place, but we all at one time think the whole thing is against us. You know, and I think that's a really relatable story. Okay, everybody, you've sat through me through a long number 1. Now, you and I are gonna take number 2, the seasons of Peacemaker. I don't know where your mind went. Get the fuck out of the gutter. Release schedule program.
So definitely, we definitely have to talk about what's canon.
Is Green Arrow canon? I don't know. I'm not willing to say it. We don't really know. We don't have Green Arrow as part of our system right now. So maybe Green Arrow exists, maybe doesn't. I'm not sure. So that's a maybe.
So not at the moment.
Yeah. But Justice League, we find out in Superman that hopefully you've seen that by now, everyone. There's a group called the Justice Gang. They're sort of a nascent Justice League. They're run by Lord Tech Corporation, and they're not yet the Justice League, if they ever do become, in fact, the Justice League.
What about Cheetos? Are Cheetos canon?
Cheetos are canon. Judo Master comes back in season 2, and he has not lost
That's a spoiler.
his love. It's not a spoiler, it's a tease. You've already seen the teaser anyway by now. You know, he's not lost his taste for Flaming Hot Cheetos.
I have a weird question for you really quick. Were there any versions of the script where any of the main characters died?
Yeah, Harcourt got taken over by Goff.
Wow.
There was more of a pronounced line of Goff being in love with Peacemaker. And
Oh my God.
and
It's one way to fulfill
Peacemaker's in love with Harcourt, and he keeps her alive, and stays with Harcourt, even though she's been taken over by Goff. It was a totally. By the way, when I say I changed it, these were all just like outlines where I was trying to figure stuff out.
Early
that was a
drafts.
possible. It wasn't a fully written script, but in that version, like season 2 would have been Goff as Harcourt. In the character, yeah.
I just can't imagine a version that's not what season 2 is now.
Right, I know.
I'm grateful that it is what it is.
Season 2 kind of deals with some of that same stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Well, should we dive into some fan questions?
Which is called
Eagly's Air Mailbag.
That's right.
Our first message comes from our choreographer, Carissa Barton, regarding the worst dancers in the opening number for season 1.
Cool.
Ooh.
Here we go.
We know the one real standout was Robert Patrick. Robert redeemed himself in season 2, like truly. But in season 1, yeah, it was a little rough. Yeah, he was on his own track. That's what we'll go with that. Steve Agee, season 1, it was a little like learning a new skill.
It was, yeah.
So you did pretty well, Steve. I was pretty impressed by the end.
Okay.
But, took a little while to ramp up. Chukwudi, great work ethic in the rehearsals, but it was there's a kind of a different level of comfort with the moves. Maybe a little stiff. You can go with that. But really the star standout takes the number 1 place of worst dancer. Season 1 was Robert Patrick. Love you, Robert. Bye.
Well,
She's being so gentle with it.
Okay, I have some issues.
but who was worse? Who? I mean, you were
Mel
good.
Tuck. She didn't even mention old man Mel Tuck,
Oh yeah.
the neighbor.
She fucking forgot about Mel Tuck. There's
forgot
no
about
way.
Mel
Like,
Tuck.
obviously, Mel Tuck, we had to put him on a chair to sit down.
Exactly.
We love him. Yeah. Yeah, that's not fair.
I think Cena's a worse dancer than me.
He had a lot to do, though.
He did have a
He had
lot
a lot to do.
Yeah.
Season 1.
Listen, I'm not a dancer, so I'm actually okay with
People
this.
were pretty good season 1, I gotta say. But you were great.
Yeah.
Danielle's very good. Annie was very good.
But Christopher, who plays Locke, I just noticed when I was watching it, like when he's doing this thing
Oh,
or
he's so
something
funny.
like that, he's so
So
funny.
into it.
He's
Oh,
so
I'm
funny. Yeah,
into
he's
it.
such a
It's
funny
so
guy.
Good.
God, what a scene stealer.
Well, thank you, Carissa, for that, I guess.
Sure.
The good news is season 2, I'm not even probably in the worst 4 or 5.
I don't know if that's the good news because the bad news is there's way more bad dancers in season 2. You're not top 10 worst of season 2.
All right, let's move on. We have another audio clip from Wayne Daglish.
Ooh.
Wayne, stunt coordinator.
Wayne, he's going to talk really quiet.
Here we go.
Hey, this is Wayne Douglas here. I'm the stunt coordinator for Peacemaker Season 1. So my first question for James is, what's the process for developing action sequences? Like, what do you do to write these and to come up with all these interesting and unique fights? My favorite memory from set is definitely when we had all the Vancouver stunt people out and we were in front of the barn and we were doing wire gags. All the actors were fighting. The stunt performers, Francois, our camera operator, was going crazy, running around like a madman with the
Per
camera.
usual.
And all the choreography and the camera and everything had to sync up perfectly to make the shot work. I felt like that was the most magical experience I had on set. Whenever I work with James and Peter and Lars, like I learn how to become a better filmmaker all the time. So thank you very much for allowing me to do so. I've learned a lot from you guys, and I hope to keep doing it.
Yeah, that's it.
Love
Thank you, Wayne.
We love Wayne. Wayne is my stunt coordinator from Peacemaker, who went on to become the co-stunt coordinator for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and then did the wonderful work for key stunt coordinator for Superman. He was a very quiet.
Fun fact,
Yeah.
Quiet
got
guy.
his start as a child actor.
He was a child actor. He was in a movie called Moto Kids, in which it was him and a chimpanzee and Lorenzo Lamas. And this is true. And one day on the set of Superman, I bought the entire crew Moto Kids T-shirts that we made up, and he showed up to set after lunch, and we're all wearing Moto Kids T-shirts.
That one maybe was the happiest I've ever seen.
He
Wayne.
was so happy.
He was so
We
tickled
thought
by
he was
that.
going to hate it, and so he kind of ruined it by liking it so much.
He loved it. He thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, he asked me a question. Maybe I should answer the question.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But it's a weird question for him to ask me because he sees what I do.
Yeah.
So, the way stunt coordination works is different for different scenes. I mean, sometimes I go in with something like, say, the fight sequence in episode 1 between the rocker chick. That pretty much was like I set up those shots and I storyboarded all that, and then I gave that to Wayne, and I'm like, follow this exactly. So he has to fit the gags into the beats that all those beats were written of her being stabbed and being stabbed in the back and all that stuff of, coming down with the knife and then it goes into the ground. So that was
throwing weird stuff at
throwing weird stuff at her face.
Thing.
But it was also really shot listed and storyboarded so that Wayne just had to fit the gags into exactly that structure. However, other times, like episode 8, he has much more freedom where there's a basic, the basic beats are written up. Some shots maybe are drawn. I know that like he's gonna, throw the, shoot the thing into the guy's neck or something like that. But then Wayne really had a lot of freedom on that particular scene, and a lot of those shots were set up by Wayne in the process. So he'll bring me cuts of fight sequence that he has shot with the actors or with the stunt actors or both, and then I'll just keep whittling that down to, offer new shots, different shots, and then cutting a lot because Wayne always gives me these like 8-hour-long fight sequences. So I kind of have to go through and pick the moments that really matter.
By the way, I don't know how you do because every time you show me one of his early Fight Viz cuts where he's created this long fight sequence with all these, it just looks so cool that I'm like, how do you choose what you're going to use from this? I love the whole thing. I just want to keep watching this.
Yeah. And then we start shooting, and that's where we really have fun because the way Wayne and I work together, and I worked well with Hank in this way too on season 2, is I'm able to add flair to those shots. So, like we curl around a scene and push in. I push in a lot. I, pull in. And so I just kind of add flair to stuff. And then the final component, it's a little less with Superman where it's flying and everything's so worked out. But on scenes like this where it's people fighting, we have, other camera operators who are in there getting little bits and pieces of, panning back and forth, panning and pushing in, pulling out, pushing in. And so really the camera operators are a part of the fight choreography. The choreography does not exist independent from the shots. It's all one organic thing.
Yeah,
and it's my favorite thing to do in movies, TV shows, whatever, is fight scenes. That's what I like doing the best.
And that's what he was talking about when in the clip he was talking about how Francois, who was our camera operator on this
Shout out
season,
to Francois, who actually did a great job.
He did a great job, but he's a wild man, and he was saying that he was running around like a crazy person. But what he means is that really, Francois was a huge part of filming that stuff,
right,
because it was so important for him to be moving with the stunt actors and catching all of that, because a lot of it is you are panning a lot, you're following the motion. A lot of it's one long shot.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate that message. All right, we're going to the email or the message.
That sounded like it was from the heart.
It was. We're going to social media messages now. This is from @Hudson91985925.
Oh my God.
Will Dyebeard ever re-dye his beard again after admitting he dyes his beard?
Well, I think we can see the trailer for season 2.
You've probably seen the trailer.
He dyes his beard.
And my beard is not this gray, so.
Yeah, he dyes his beard.
Yes, I do dye my beard.
But he does a good job. He bought L'Oreal products.
He learned a lesson.
He did.
From @MoviesForRealPod on X, what was the most rewarding part of making season 1 of Peacemaker, and what was the most challenging part? I mean, the most rewarding was that monologue about my beard. Like, that was crazy justification. I loved it. And the most challenging part was the COVID restrictions, and I was living by myself for 7 months in Canada, and being encouraged not to hang out with people or go indoors and stuff. Yeah. That was the most challenging part.
I think we can all. That's true for all 3 of us.
I think we're probably all going to agree on that. And I would never normally talk about Canada in this way, but we were really stuck in Canada. We couldn't leave because of our schedules and the 14-day quarantine. So it was.
And the other thing was, the vaccine had come out in the United States.
And we wanted to get the vaccine.
All our friends were down in the United States, out going to Vegas and partying after the vaccine came out when it was at its most effective. And we didn't have any vaccine. We're just stuck up with Canada. So we had come from the United States when it was at its worst, and now we're in Canada when it was at its worst.
Probably the most rewarding thing for me getting to work on season 1 was really getting to know John. You know, when I met him on the Suicide Squad, I didn't really, you know, he's a tough nut to crack in some ways. Takes a little bit to get to know him. He's a great leader. He's a great leader for our set.
Very inspirational.
And yeah, and he's just a good guy all around. He's an odd person, but man, he's a great teacher in terms of like learning about yourself, being vulnerable and accepting that you have limitations, or, you know, learning how to better yourself in some way. And I just appreciate him for that. So that's probably the most rewarding thing for me.
I think this honestly, the first thing to my mind is that working with the two of you is the most rewarding thing, and that two people who I love really deeply, and it was amazing to see you guys shine as these characters. And, you know, you get caught up in show business and money and this and that and everything else, but at the end of the day, it's still like, you know, making plays with my family and putting them on for my parents in my playroom. And that's the part of this process I really love. Somebody get a good close-up on Jen crying right now. And that was...
I want to change my answer. The most rewarding.
I need to change mine too. Fuck this beard.
Yeah. But it's, I think it was, you know, and John and Freddie and Danielle and the whole gang. But you know, especially you two, because we have history, you know. And so it was really fun, and I think that was doubly the case on season 2, and seeing you guys, like, fuck, man, wait till everyone sees season 2. Like, I can't wait for it, because you guys and John are so much better, and you're great in season 1. But you're both, I mean, wow, it's really, you both upped your game so much in season 2. I can't wait for people to see it.
Thank you. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to do that.
Of course. What else you got?
Oh, last one from Vigil Maker on X. Will Peacemaker's bisexuality be explored further in the show? Maybe not with a male love interest, but with mentions of it, introspections, flashbacks, etc.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, we will.
So many surprises that you get in season 2. So, song spotlight. I don't know what song to put the spotlight on, because there's so many good ones. If You Really, Really Love Me by Steel Panther. You Can't Kill My Rock and Roll by Hardcore Superstar, who are in a lot of next season. But I have to give it to a song that for some reason hasn't gotten as much attention as other songs in the series, and that's Apologize by The Last Vegas. That's the song that the final montage plays over. That's from their major debut album, Whatever Gets You Off, from 2009. They're an American hard rock band from Chicago, formed in 2003. And that song, I love that song. And Jen, you've been singing it we watched this episode a couple days ago, and you've been singing it around the house for like 60 hours straight.
Stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Major earworm.
I'd give a big shout out, full circle, back to our theme song.
That's, I mean, you got to, I mean, yeah.
On that note, that's it. That's a wrap on season 1. We did it.
We did it. 8 episodes.
Although we're back next week with season 2.
Come back Thursday when Peacemaker season 2 premieres on HBO Max. We'll be here to talk about season 2, episode 1, titled The Ties That Grind. You can catch our podcast on HBO Max, the HBO Max YouTube channel, and wherever you get your podcasts. This has been a DC Studios Showcase presentation. Peace out.
Peace out, motherfuckers. This was an OBB sound production for HBO Max and DC Studios, hosted by James Gunn, with co-host Jennifer Holland and me, Steve Agee. Executive producers for DC Studios are Phil Sopanides and Gary Barbosa. Executive producer for HBO Max is Becky Rowe. Executive producers for OBB are Michael D. Ratner, Scott Ratner, and Toby Lawless. Special thanks to, from DC, Mike Pilata and Victor Diaz. And from HBO Max Design, Tom Hasgard, Martha Duarte Diaz, Ryan Cronin, Brett Krause, and John Northway. Producer, Toby Lawless. Producer for HBO Max is Aaron Kelly. Research producer, Jesse Holland. Associate producer, Tessa Bartholomew. Associate producer, Chris Stipp. Production manager, Kevin Lynn. Studio coordinator, Elijah Matias. Director of photography, Keith Gresham. First assistant camera and camera operator, Chris Piper. Gaffer, Arthur Garcia. Key grip, Jake Reeder. Sound mixer, Josh Falcon. Sound mixer, Darren Bowling. Post-production supervisor, Mariana Cristostomo. Lead editor, Jesse Holland. Editor, Louis Sinibaldi. Assistant editor, Mark Alcacid. Hair and makeup artist, Kendall Shannon. Director of creative development and social strategy, Lenore Castro. Senior coordinator, creative development and social strategy, Sharif Bakari. Production assistant, Antonio Cavallo.
We're just getting ourselves situated
We are
here.
out of it today.
We're out of it today. It was a rough day yesterday. It took everything out of us.
It was a long day.
It was a long day.